Yeah. I'm sure about it.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so we're going to finish off our topic that we discussed the last 2 weeks, and then we're going to take a new subject today. So just to, as they say in English, to wrap up. Wrap up means you have a present and you wrap it up. So we're going to finish off our wonderful, interesting topic which we discussed, and then we'll take something else nice today.
Opening of the last
last conversation. Okay, so
Yeah.
just to recap and to finish off from our Kiddush Hachodesh. So we discussed for 2 weeks in a row, and today we'll close it, and that was the mitzvah of Beis Din in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, saying that today is Rosh Chodesh. We explained already why some months have 2 days Rosh Chodesh, some months have 1 day Rosh Chodesh. The answer was because a month that has 30 days. Day 30 is Rosh Chodesh and Aleph is Rosh Chodesh. A month that has 29 days only has 1 day Rosh Chodesh. The reason for that is because even at the times of Beis Hamikdash, day 30 in the morning was already announced Rosh Chodesh, because perhaps this afternoon will be Aleph. In order to remember that, on a day that we have 30, we remember that by also being Rosh Chodesh. Therefore, if there's only 29 days in a month, since 29 was never Rosh Chodesh, even nowadays, day 29 is not Rosh Chodesh. So that was a 2-minute recap on what we discussed for a long time in the previous weeks.
We have this week, two days.
Sorry?
End of the week, we have 2 days Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah, you're right. We have Rosh
Friday and
Chodesh.
Shabbos.
Exactly. So we have Rosh Chodesh on Friday and Shabbos. So if you look in the calendar, Friday will be Lamed Shvat. Now you'll know on Friday why it's Rosh Chodesh. Why is Lamed Rosh Chodesh? It has nothing to do with the new month. The new month is Aleph. Rosh Chodesh is not Friday. Rosh Chodesh, the new month, is on Shabbos. So now you know why is Friday Rosh Chodesh? Only because in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, when they made the Kiddush Hachodesh through the Eidim and the Beis Din, already on day 30 in the morning was announced that today is Rosh Chodesh. Why did they do that? Because they never wanted half a day Rosh Chodesh, and because there was a possibility that Eidim would come on day 30 and it would change to Aleph. Therefore, already 30 in the morning was Rosh Chodesh. To remember that, we have day 30 Rosh Chodesh. But on a month where there's only 29 days, never was 29 a Rosh Chodesh. So that's why we never have 2 days Rosh Chodesh when there's 29 days in the month. So a simple way to remember, when there's going to be 30 days in the month, we're going to have 2 days Rosh Chodesh. When there's going to be 29 days, you're going to have 1 day. Okay. Another thing we mentioned last week was why Rosh Hashanah is 2 days. Rosh Hashanah should be 1 day in Israel, the same way as Pesach is 1 day in Israel. Sukkot is 1 day. Shavuos is 1 day. So we explained that because Rosh Hashanah is at the beginning of the month, therefore on the last day of Elul, already Beis Din said, hey, today, this afternoon might be Aleph Tishri. It might be Rosh Chodesh, which is Rosh Hashanah. We don't want to miss blowing the shofar, davening, and all that. So therefore, already this morning, we're going to say today is Rosh Hashanah. And if Beis Din say this afternoon is Aleph, it's very good. We kept today Rosh Hashanah, and tomorrow is not Rosh Hashanah. But if Eidim only came tomorrow, then they had 2 days Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, sometimes they had 2 days Rosh Hashanah, sometimes they had 1 day. Now, in order for us to remember the 2 days that we have, even at Eretz Yisrael, they have 2 days. But if we remember, Rabbi Paul Jacobs had a very good question.
I'm not Rabbi.
The question was on the left couple of rabbis. So that was the question was from a question of Rabbi Nagel. He had a very good question, and that was that we should have the last day of Elul and the first day of Tishri, Rosh Hashanah. According to this logic that we are explaining, the same as we have 2 days Rosh Chodesh, one is the last day of the previous month and one is the first day of the next month, we should have 2 days Rosh Hashanah, the first day, the last day of the previous month, which is the last day of Elul, and the second day Rosh Hashanah should be the first day of Tishri. So we explained, according to the calendar that we have, Elul is always going to be 29 days. That's the way Hillel fixed our Luach. He had a reason for that, which is maybe another time we can go into, but Elul is always 29 days. If Elul is going to be 29 days, then there's no logic, there's no sense, there's no reason to make 29 Rosh Hashanah and Aleph Rosh Hashanah. Because 29, like we explained, was never ever a doubt whether today is going to be Rosh Chodesh or not. So since 29 never came into the Cheshbon, and we still want to keep 2 days Rosh Hashanah because they had 2 days Rosh Hashanah sometimes, therefore the way it came out with our calendar and keeping the 2 days, we keep Aleph Tishri and Beis Tishri, which is very, very interesting, but that's the way it comes out. Now, I'm not sure if we once did explain, but maybe I'll just quickly mention, and that is, there is a famous ruling, and that was part of the calculation of Hillel when he fixed our calendar. And that is that Rosh Hashanah never falls on a Sunday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. Did you know that? Sorry?
The first day Rosh Hashanah.
The first day, exactly. The first day Rosh Hashanah
Can't
is
be.
never on a Sunday,
No.
a Wednesday, or a Friday.
No.
Never. You look at your calendar, you'll never find that. It's the way it's written. The way we remember that is Loi Adu Rosh. That means Loi means not, Adu Aleph Daled Vov. Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Aleph is Sunday, Daled is Wednesday. It's the 4th day in the week. Vov is Friday, the 6th day in the week. Loi Adu, not on Aleph, Daled, and Vov, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Rosh will the first day of Rosh Hashanah fall. Rosh Hashanah is never on a Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. The reason for that, why Hillel never wanted Rosh Hashanah to fall on a Wednesday and a Friday, is because what happens if Rosh Hashanah is on a Wednesday? When will Yom Kippur be?
It's Thursday.
Yom Kippur will be on Friday because Yom Kippur,
Friday.
right? If Rosh Hashanah is on a Wednesday, so that's Aleph Tishri. Yud Tishri will be the following week on a Friday. And says Hillel, we never want Yom Kippur to be on a Friday. So if you look at the Jewish calendar for the last 200 years and for the next 200 years, you'll never ever see a Yom Kippur on a Friday. Therefore, because we don't want Yom Kippur to be on a Friday, therefore, Rosh Hashanah cannot be on the Wednesday before. Because if Rosh Hashanah is on Wednesday, Yom Kippur will be on a Friday. And the same thing happens if Rosh Hashanah will be on Friday. Then when will Yom Kippur be? On Sunday.
No, can't.
It can't. Hillel says, based on the Gemara and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur should never be on a Friday or on a Sunday. It can be on a Shabbos, but not on a Friday and not on a Sunday. Therefore, Hillel, who fixed our calendar, says that Rosh Hashanah therefore cannot be on Wednesday or Friday. Because if it's on Wednesday, then Yom Kippur will be the following Friday. And if Yom Kippur is, Rosh Hashanah, is on Friday, then Yom Kippur will be the following week on Sunday. Now, what's the reason why we don't want Yom Kippur to be on a Friday or Sunday? Anyone know? Why not? What's so wrong with Yom Kippur being on it? We have Tisha B'Av on a Sunday. Let's make Yom Kippur on Sunday.
No.
We have Tisha B'Av is on a Sunday, or either it's pushed off or it can fall on a Sunday, but it doesn't matter if we have a fast on a Motzah Shabbos, like we have Tisha B'Av. Maybe even some other Tanaisim. So what's the big deal by having Yom Kippur on Sunday? Hillel says, based on the Gemara, we never want Yom Kippur to be on a Friday or on a Sunday. The answer for that is, the Gemara explains, very interesting answer. And that is, the Gemara says, because of Kovod Hames, honoring a dead person. Now, what does that mean? I'll explain to you. And that is, the halacha is, if lo yaleinu, never someone is nifta on a Shabbos, we do not do kvurat hames, burying on Shabbat. We only do it during the week, or we can even do it on a Yom Tov through a goy. But on Shabbat,
Day.
Sorry?
Second day.
Second day we do. But second day we do ourselves. But that's only in midrabanan. Midoraisa, one can ask a goy even on the first day. We don't do on the first day.
No.
But the only day that it's osir to even ask a goy to do kvura for you is on Shabbat. And Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is the same level as Shabbat. Shabbos and Yom Kippur is the same level. Therefore, says the Gemara, that if Yom Kippur will fall on a Friday or on a Sunday, and Nebuch, lo aleinu, someone dies on a Friday or on Shabbos, when Yom Kippur and Shabbos are next to each other, the person who died will have to wait up to 2 days for Kvura. The maximum we ever want to leave a person is 1 day. So it's
There's now, at this moment, in the past, we have here in Holland to wait 36 hours. But that changed now.
What was that?
That is the Dutch law. The Dutch law.
You have to wait 36 hours?
You have to wait here in Holland for, I think it changed in 2 years ago. You have to wait at least 36 hours, sorry.
36 hours from the death till the Kvura?
Yes, till the Kvura.
What's the reason for that?
Schijndood, how do you call it?
All the paperwork, all the organization.
Oh, no, not all the paperwork, but this is the Dutch law.
You're not allowed to bury before 36 hours?
Yeah, now yes, but for 2 years not. For 2 years ago not. It was not allowed.
Oh wow! So what? What all the
JBW had a special permission in the.
Yeah, I remember. My father. Here was Friday morning at 6 o'clock, and we did the Levaya at 4 o'clock before Shabbos, and had get an extra permission from the court that we can bury him. But normally you have to wait till Sunday or Monday. Yeah.
And what's the law today?
And now you can bury directly in a few hours.
Okay.
Everybody also.
What changed? Why did they change the law?
Maybe also about the more Muslims and more Jews. I think so.
The Muslims will be the reason.
The reason why they changed it is because nowadays they can absolutely be sure if someone is dead or not. In the past, it was a problem. That's the reason.
Till 2 years ago, they didn't know if someone was dead or not.
No, it could be.
It was an old law, but they changed it because years ago they had the possibility to know exactly if someone died or not. That's it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, it's only in Netherlands. Other countries also, Belgium?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know.
Do the Muslims also have a rule to bury straight away?
Yes.
Inside 24 hours.
That's the rule of the Muslims?
Yes, correct.
Okay, they have.
But the Belgium, the Antwerp Jews, didn't allow to bury them in Belgium. They have bij z'n olim in Putten, in Holland.
Yeah, in Holland.
Dus the Dutch law.
Yeah, because there they have, after 50 years, they're allowed to take away.
Yes.
And what about...
Sorry, according to the Rijksoverheid, they say that you're not allowed to bury sooner than 36 hours after the moment the person in question is not alive anymore, and not later than 6 working days. Weekend and festival days are not seen as working days. And that's not so long ago.
And now that changed.
No, this is what it is now. This is what it is now.
The last 2 years.
Yes.
No, but I think you have always had a permission if you want to bury directly, but that is only paperwork.
Sometimes family members have to come for the Levaye. For instance, somebody died that Friday and they can only fly on Sunday morning or Saturday night.
I'm not agree with
this. To do it.
It is a bigger mitzvah to bury one than to wait on people.
Absolutely.
Correct.
I'm sorry. In my job in The Hague, I had a lot of trouble with some people.
They want you to wait.
Yeah, that's it. We don't wait. We only wait on a son. We only wait on a son if he can't come directly.
And how long would
there are sons, maybe there are some live in Australia. Okay, the flight is 24 hours. You have to wait 2 days. Because
it's also 36 hours because the police has to do the job in case there are things not very clear, or a medical doctor has to declare that the person in question has really died.
Yes.
So if it was a son, did you wait? How long would you wait for a son to come?
Depends. If he say I come directly, but the plane is not going, or you can't. He didn't have a direct flight. You can wait.
So now I'm sure they have many questions with Corona, with everyone being stuck, not being able to travel.
Correct.
They have only answers.
But otherwise,
it can't be postponed by the Corona. When you would think that you can postpone that because of Corona, it's not possible.
Yeah, but I mean, you can be stuck for 2 weeks. You know,
there's the same goes in Israel when people are being buried the same day or only 1 day later. Then you don't have quite often the possibility to fly. Then you can only go for the Shiva or the Matzeva.
Yeah. I'm sure there are lots of questions and complications, especially a child who wants to be there. On the other hand, you want to have covered hames.
Yes, but that's the situation right now.
Yeah.
And before we could fly, there was no question at all.
Yeah, I know even over here in Amsterdam, Ronnie Eisman told me recently that he hasn't been even to the kavura of his father.
No, correct.
Who already died.
David Brodman was Shmuel Aaron. He was also too late.
Who's that?
The son of Rabbi Brodman. He is rabbi in München, and he was also too late in Israel.
Well, where does he live? In America?
No, München. He is rabbi in
Germany.
München. Germany. Yeah. So he missed it.
His father was in Israel.
So he couldn't go.
He was, but too late. He was for the Shiva. The Kavura was already gone.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I know Rav Menachem Sebag, who also, his father was nifta a few weeks ago, a month ago,
Yes.
5 weeks ago. And he couldn't go.
No.
Anyway.
Something else.
Well, let me just ask a question. Do Muslims also have a rule not to do cremation?
Yes, correct.
I
It's
don't
forbidden.
know.
And the thing is that they have to face to Mecca and upside down. with the face
What?
to the ground, the face to the ground, with the face to Mecca. If the Messiah is coming, then they will stand up again.
Yeah.
So if they stand up, they looking directly to Mecca.
Oh my gosh, that's what happened. That's how so they bury with the face to the ground.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Only the woman's going up.
Beautiful.
The woman
Only
is
the
up,
woman.
and the man is down.
So why are the women up?
I don't know, but that's the rule. And they
Women
bury
up?
it also in 24 hours with no
Women
clothes.
up, men down, and they like we face Mizrach, they face Mecca.
Yes, correctly. Both of them. And they have also clothes on, but it's not daily clothes. So they have special clothes on normally.
Yeah, like us.
No,
Yes,
we have
correct.
Tachrichim.
Yeah, Tachichem, and there's also a tire.
Yeah.
And they have a Tyra?
Yes, it's something like a tire.
And even know that some Muslims are be buried in the teppich, what they have on the floor where they are praying. That's also possible. Then you see some men are burying the Muslim in a teppich.
It's the mat that they
close.
used to daven on.
But yeah, normally, yeah, the big one. And
Muslims
is
now we are allowed also to bury everybody without coffin here in Holland.
Correct.
If you want.
Without the box.
yes,
Without the box. We don't do it.
But that's it's a new rule.
Yes, you're allowed to.
because it's also what happened then is because you are coming from the earth, so you're coming much quicker to the earth where you exist from. So that's the reason why they're not using a coffin anymore. That's by Muslims is the same.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a bit of a morbid topic. I think we should.
Right, correct. But I have to tell you that I'm a photographer, and I am working all around the world, and I covered the whole revolution of the Muslims. Yeah, the Muslim from Tunisia to Libya to Egypt to Syria. Yeah, I follow it also. I see a lot of people are burying, and that's the reason why I know this.
Yeah. Again, well, what are you by trade?
I'm sorry?
What did you say you are? You are a what?
I'm a photographer, a freelance photographer in war crimes.
Photographer.
Yeah, right, correctly.
So, okay. So how does photography help you with burial? You're not photographing dead people.
No. But the thing is that what's happened, because I'm a photojournalist. So when people are be burying, so I follow it to make the pictures of it. So that's the reason why I know that some people are speaking English. Then I can ask why they're burying the man upside down and the woman up, and why they're burying them to the face to Mecca. And the most interesting thing is, if you bury people to Mecca, they have to sometimes in Europe, they have first one stop is in Jerusalem, and then it's going to Mecca. So you see, theologic, yeah, it's interesting. It's the same like all the Muslims like the Beit Hamikdash, yeah, the temple on it. But if they're praying on Friday, yeah, they looking with their ass to the Hamikdash, so that it is wrong. It's really interesting things is that it's happened how people interpreting the Torah, and that is what has happened. It's a copy page in the new term of today, but they copy a lot of things and they don't understand Hebrew or the old language, and that is a problem. So I would translate it, and that's a problem for them.
Okay, interesting. I think you have to also ask. I would like to know why they do men down and women up. What's the reason?
I don't know why, but that is the rule what they're doing, and that's what I saw.
Okay. Okay, I think especially if we're coming into the month of Dor, It'll be a little bit more exciting topic, more than talking about how they bury Muslims.
Yeah, correctly. It's on the 9th place.
What?
It's on the 9th place, and not 10, but 9.
No, okay. So
We are more important.
Yeah, I think we have 2 days Rosh Chodesh of Adar, then we have 2 days to enjoy the coming in of Adar. So a bit more of an exciting topic. But let's go and wrap up our topic of Kiddush Hachodesh. So we had another question, and that was addressed already 2 weeks ago, and that was, why is Yom Kippur only 1 day in Chutz La'aretz? That's a very good question.
Because we don't know exactly the time in Europe.
So for that reason that we have 2 days Pesach in Chutz La'aretz, 2 days Shavuos in Chutz La'aretz, 2 days Sukkot in Chutz La'aretz, we should have 2 days Yom Kippur in Chutz La'aretz.
Correct.
So Israel has 1 day Yom Kippur, understood. The same as they have 1 day Pesach, 1 day Shavuos, 1 day Sukkot. We in Chutz La'aretz who have 2 days Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot should have 2 days Yom Kippur. Now, I'm not saying it'll be easy, but the question is a good question. Now, we have to have a good answer. For every good question is a good answer.
Correct.
We've answered why in Israel they have 2 days Rosh Hashanah, because they should have 1 day. We explained. Because even at times the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, we'll go back into it, but that we've explained. 2 days Yom Kippur is still open. Any suggestions before I give some? Any suggestions as to why Yom Kippur is only 1 day in Chutz La'aretz? As in Amsterdam or Maastricht or The Hague?
I think that is because in Israel they can see the first 3 stars earlier than we can see, and that's the time label.
But why does that answer why we should have only 1 day Yom Kippur and 2 days Sukkot? As I say in Dutch, it's een heel goede vraag.
I don't know.
Now, the question is a very good question. The answers that are given, there's a couple of explanations. Some are a little bit easier to understand, and I would say one is slightly more difficult. Let's start off with the easier answer. The easier answer given as to why in Chutz La'aretz we only have 1 day Yom Kippur is because if we were to fast for 2 consecutive days, that would mean that we would have to fast for 50 hours. If we have 2 days Yom Kippur, one after the other, on Yom Kippur it's forbidden to eat. If it's forbidden to eat and we're going to keep 2 days, you can't have something to eat or drink in the middle, because the 1 day overlaps straight into the next day. As soon as you finish day 1, day 2 begins. So Yom Kippur for 2 days would mean 2 consecutive days, 1 day after the other. For example, we would have to have Yom Kippur on a Wednesday straight into Thursday. So from Tuesday night till Thursday night will be Yom Kippur. On the clock, that would be about 49 hours. Chazal said, if Chutz La'aretz would have to keep 2 days Yom Kippur, it would be a safek pikuach nefesh. We would have people dying at the end of 2 days Yom Kippur. Because of safek pikuach nefesh, Yom Kippur is only 1 day. That's a very simple, straightforward answer. That means the question is a good question. We should have 2 days Yom Kippur in Chutz La'aretz. It's a suffix. We have a doubt for Pesach, we have 2 days. We have a doubt for Shavuos, we have a doubt for Sukkot. The same doubt logically should apply for Yom Kippur. We should be doing 2 days. The answer is you're right. We should. But because Yom Kippur, the mitzvah is to fast and not eat for the whole day, and all the other part that comes with Yom Kippur, if we were to have 2 days Yom Kippur, it would be a Safek Pikuach Nefesh. Safek Pikuach Nefesh, we don't do 2 days Yom Kippur. Simple answer. That's why Yom Kippur is only 1 day. Really, you're right. It should be 2 days. Safek Pikuach Nefesh, only 1 day. Now, there is another explanation. This explanation, I'm going to say to you now, another answer as to why Yom Kippur is only 1 day in Chutz La'aretz, not 2 days, is a slightly more difficult explanation, but we will try and explain. We will try and explain it. Let's explain it like this. Some of us on this Shia group over here have once heard a Shia from me on the international dateline. A couple of months ago, we gave a Shia, I think it was the beginning of Corona, and the topic that I spoke about then was the international dateline. International dateline is a very, very interesting topic as to where Al Pi Halacha is the dateline. Okay. It's a whole shir in its own. But if you remember, for those who were there at the shir, or those of you might know anyway, that an area or a country like Japan is a country where there is a doubt onto which side of the dateline that belongs to. Is it, let's call it 24 hours ahead, or is it 24 hours behind? So we discussed at the time in that shir about avoiding being in such places, or what to do if you had a safek. Now, let's say you were in a country where you had a safek of the dateline, which side of the dateline this country belongs to. And now it's Yom Kippur. So you have a doubt. Do I keep Yom Kippur today, or do I keep Yom Kippur tomorrow? Similar type of question that we are asking in Chutz La'aretz. We asked, keep 2 days, because there's a doubt. Is Yom Kippur on the 10th of Tishri for us in Chutz La'aretz, or on the 11th of Tishri? So we asked, keep 2 days Yom Kippur, 10th and 11th. Okay, let's go a second to a guy who's on a country where there's a suffix, whether today is Yom Kippur or tomorrow is Yom Kippur. Which side of the dateline do I belong to? A similar question. What should a guy in that situation do? When does he keep Yom Kippur? Now, the thing is like this. The Gemara tells us, I'm just finding out as we speak, hold on a second. The Gemara Rosh Hashanah says like this. That Yom Kippur is a chiyuv d'oraisa. Correct? It's a chiyuv d'oraisa, as it says in the Torah, to keep Yom Kippur. So you have a suffix. You have a suffix d'oraisa. You have a suffix when to do the d'oraisa. Now, we know there's a klal. By d'oraisa, if you have a doubt, you should be strict. By a d'rabbanon, when you have a doubt, you can be more lenient. That's known as suffix d'oraisa, a doubt by a d'oraisa, which means min haTorah lechumra. We are stringent, we are strict. Suffix d'rabbanon, if we have a doubt by a d'rabbanon, lekula, we can be lenient. By Yom Kippur, we have a doubt d'oraisa, so we are strict. Now, Hold on a second. I'm just looking up something as we speak.
Abdullah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the international timeline, is that the same timeline that the Jews are using or not?
We go with the international dateline that's used by the secular world.
Okay, thanks.
That's an interesting point, because how could the secular world fix our Chagim? According to the international dateline, it affects exactly when the Chagim fall. Are the Chagim today or the Chagim tomorrow? When is the new day?
That's the reason why we have 2 days.
No,
I
we
think so.
don't have 2 days Pesach because of international dateline. We have 2 days Pesach because of the Rosh Chodesh. The international dateline is a question where the day starts and where the day finishes, in which point the world is a ball. So there's always sun on half of the world and there's always dark on the other half. That's the whole year round. The sun keeps shining and the world, the ball, keeps turning. So there's always going to be light somewhere and there's always going to be dark somewhere. The same way as if you were to take a football, a regular ball, there's no beginning of the ball and there's no end of the ball. Exactly the same question is by the world. There's no beginning of the world, there's no end of the world. It's a circle. So where is the beginning of a new day? You can, if I go around with the sun, I'm staying with the light the whole time. So where does the new day, where do we go back 12 hours and forward 12 hours? At some point, you have to say on the circle, here is the new day. Because if you don't do that, you'll be in a mess. You'll always have somewhere where it's light and always somewhere where it's dark. And you can't have a dateline moving. The dateline has to be in one spot where eventually you go into the new day. So if we go where we are now, okay, it's a whole long topic, but it's I don't know if we should go into it now. It's a very interesting discussion in Halacha. But your question was, Mayor, does the international dateline, where it is in London, the international dateline is in Greenwich, in London. That's why GMT is Greenwich Mean Time. It's a place in London where I think about 150 years ago, world leaders got together and decided this spot is where the international dateline is. That's why 00 on the clock is GMT, is in London. See, I'm from London, so I'm proud. So GMT is in London. That's where but there was no, that's where, sorry, that's not where the international dateline is. Sorry. GMT is 0.
Correct.
Minus 12 and plus 12, from there is the dateline. Minus 12 hours, plus 12 hours, the other way, that's where the dateline is. So today the dateline is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That's 12 hours one direction and 12 hours the other direction, which is the other side of the world directly from London.
So London is in the middle.
London's bang in the middle. That's why it's called GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, which is 00. 12 left and 12 right is the opposite of the world, which is the international dateline. The reason why it was done there was because it was the most convenient. It cuts through the minimum amount of countries. So if you were to have a point where on one side of the country it's going to be one day, on the other side of the country is going to be another day, it's going to be very complicated. So for convenience sake, no more and no less, nothing to do with Halacha, for convenience sake, that's where the world leaders about 150 years ago, I think it was, decided that the dateline will be over there, the opposite of London. London
And
is
it's
zero.
really interesting because the date line on, if you see looking on the world map, it is not a straight line. It is a line who has got hooks and going
Exactly.
around countries, because what you're saying, it's very difficult to live with two timelines in one country.
Correct. So the reason for that is they fixed it. They decided for their convenience. That's it. For convenience, they're not going to go through the country.
That
Correct.
only goes for small countries, because, for instance, in the USA, they have different time zones over the continent.
That you can't help, because such a big country that takes 3 hours for the sun to move from one to the
Yes,
other
that's what I
side.
say.
Correct.
Yeah. So you can have a different time zone, but imagine that it would change days in the country. Imagine one side of America will be Wednesday and the other side of America will be Tuesday. Where at any point of the international dateline, you do have that. I can be, let's say the international dateline was in Amsterdam. So right now it's 12 o'clock on Tuesday. If international dateline will be over here, on one side of Amsterdam will be 12 o'clock Tuesday, and the other side will be 12 o'clock Monday.
So it will be very interesting if you're missing the Shabbat one times. You take your plane and fly directly to America, and then you can do it second time. So you can make also maybe 2 Shabbats in one day.
That's the question is, we can travel out of your country out of your. It's a very interesting topic for those who weren't there last time. I'm happy to discuss it, but I don't know if we should make another whole share on it, because we already did it once. Let's go back to our Yom Kippur discussion. We asked the question: why is Yom Kippur 2 days, only 1 day in Chutz La'aretz? So the first answer we gave was because it's a Sofik Pikuach Nefesh. If you were to have to fast for 2 days Yom Kippur, people would pass out literally. So really, it should be 2 days, but because of Pikuach Nefesh, we only do 1 day. Answer number one. Answer number two is because bit more of a deep answer, and it goes like this. A Sophic, we're going back to the guy, this is how we got onto the topic. Someone who's on the date line, and he has a question: which side of the date line where he is does it belong to? So he has a question: does he keep Yom Kippur today, or does he keep Yom Kippur tomorrow? So the same guy, perhaps he should be keeping 2 days. The answer is he only keeps 1 day. Why? Because it's a doubt. It's not a real doubt. It's just he doesn't know.
Couldn't you apply Dina de Malchuta Dina, that you adjust to the time which is being handled by your surroundings?
So that I think should be correct, but what would be in a case where he is by himself and he's in a place where he doesn't know? He has no surroundings to base his answer, his reasoning on.
No watch?
We're going back to the days before internet and before, I actually read recently, there's even in a
Not so long ago.
the great America hasn't got reception everywhere. So there was just now a road that was called, I think, the Black Road, where people would travel for miles and miles and miles and miles. And if they were stuck in snow or they broke down, there was no connection for them to be in contact. So even big America in 2020 only built now a road that has a signal that if someone's stuck or needs to call for emergency or connection for their phone, they can still be in contact. So they only build connection for where people live. So imagine you're in a place where there's no connection. That could even happen today. Definitely going back in the times of the Gemara, where you had no idea whether Yom Kippur was today or Yom Kippur tomorrow. So that doubt isn't a real doubt. You are doubting. That's called not a real sophic. That's called a doubt for yourself. That's not a doubt which is a sophic which is real. That means you are not sure what to do. So therefore, let's just go back to our calendar. We said our calendar of Elul is always Choser. That means most months of our year, almost every year, we have Elul, which is only 29 days. If Elul was only 29 days, then even in Eretz Yisrael, there wasn't a doubt when Yom Kippur would be. Because if they fixed Rosh Chodesh straight after 29, we said there was only one day Rosh Chodesh. If there was only one day Rosh Chodesh, then that year it would be clear when Yom Kippur would be. So the answer is a bit of a complicated answer, and I'm not sure how well it explains, it really answers the question, but what they do say is the following. Our question was, keep 2 days Yom Kippur because we have a doubt. The answer is only by a real doubt will there be 2 days Yom Kippur. Since our Tishri comes after a Elul, and our Eluls are 29 days, so if we have a 29 days, we only have 1 day Rosh Chodesh. Like we explained, not 2 days Rosh Chodesh, because 29, and then the next day was Aleph. If the next day was Aleph, then there wasn't a doubt when Rosh Chodesh was going to be. So since in a year where we have 29 days and then went into a Aleph, there was no doubt, and that's the calendar that we have. Every Elul is fixed on 29 days. So therefore, the Yom Kippur is going to be a less of a doubt because it's after a month of 29 days. So what I mean to say is like this. Yom Kippur is only going to have 1 day because only by a real doubt do we say we are machmir and we keep 2 days. The Yom Kippur isn't a real doubt, and therefore we're only going to keep 1 day. Our Sukkos, when we have the second day Sukkos, is that a Derabanan or is that a Deraisa? It's only a Derabanan. The second, that's why we're allowed to bury on the second day Sukkos. On the second day Yom Tov, if never someone needs to be buried, on the second day Sukkos, we're allowed to do Kvura because it's a Derabanan. So the second day Yom Tov that we keep is a Derabanan. It's not a Din D'Oraisa. By a Yom Kippur, we're not going to make a second day Derabanan on somewhere. Look, I'll tell you the truth. This answer is even a little bit complicated for me to explain. I'll put it that way. It's even a bit complicated for me to explain because I'm not sure how clear I am myself.
We keep it by the first explanation.
I think if it's better and it's more simple to go with the first explanation.
Correct.
Because the second explanation is even complicated for me and definitely more complicated to explain it. So let's just keep running out and let's finish off with this topic. I think we went through this topic very well, and I think we are explained the 2 days of Chodesh, we explained Rosh Hashanah, we explained, and we keep to that one answer of Yom Kippur being 1 day because it's a suffix of Pikuach Nefesh. 2 days in Kippur, a person won't be able to fast, and we explained all the reasonings why sometimes 2 days Rosh Chodesh, sometimes only 1 day Rosh Chodesh. I think in general, we did the topic beautifully. And I think next week we'll start with a new topic.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Keep well. And don't forget.
Be careful.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Rabbi. Litrot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.